Good evening, traders. I'm Devang Mehra from the Financial Analyst, and welcome to the Bold Project. In this module, I want to discuss about trading on news. Is trading on news a good way to make money, to make consistent money in trading in the market? So I'll talk about all of these things. If it is why, and if it is not why, we shouldn't do that. So I'll talk about all of these things. So let's first understand what I mean by trading on news. Trading on news means that you are a retail trader. You open the news applications, you have Money Control, Economic Times, or you open any broker website who gives you the news, or you open the TV channels like CNBC, NDTV, etc., showing you the news. And based on this news, you trade in the market. That is something predominantly every trader, when he starts his journey, does that. It's very obvious. If you don't have the skill, what you are doing is you see the news and you trade. And I'm going to tell you something very frankly. This is the biggest mistake a retail trader can make. What do I mean by retail trader? So people like you and me, we are small money. So if there is so much money in the stock market, people like you and me are just small retail traders. We are only this much money in that entire basket of money available. So the market is dominated by the institutions. So you have the big brokers in the world, like the FIIs, DIIs, FPIs. These people dominate the market, and try to understand these people already know what's about to happen. I'll give you a simple example. Let's take the example of Reliance Industries CEO Mukesh Ambani. He obviously knows how his company is doing in a quarter. So obviously, when the quarterly results are out, he obviously knows what the numbers are. Yes, there are some bans by the SEBI that the promoters of the company cannot trade, during the results time, 1 month before the results. But all I'm trying to say is intelligent money already know before the news is even out what's going to happen. Same is the case with big brokers. Let's say example Morgan Stanley, one of the biggest brokers in the world. If they buy Yes Bank, they do not buy just because a news flow has come out today. They have bought it much before any news flow comes out because they know what's going to happen. So as a retail trader, our job is not to act on this news. Our job is to copy the institutions. We have to follow the big money, stay in that direction, and we have to make money. So let's take a detailed approach. I'll give you tons of examples what I mean by that. And please understand, from today on, I do not want you to trade on news. From now on, if you open news, if you see something, good news, you buy the stock, bad news, you sell the stock. Now we will try to avoid that, because I'm not saying you can't make money that way. You can make money by seeing news, but the chances of you losing money and the chances of you blowing up your account are going to be much more. Let's see some examples, and then I hope you'll understand what I'm trying to tell you. So I have some screenshots with me. Uh, this is a news channel that we have on WhatsApp. It's called TFA Daily. You can WhatsApp us, and we'll on our phone numbers 8080343031, and we'll add you to this private group. So what I'm trying to tell you is I've got a news on Monday. The news is of Delta Corporation, which is engaged in the business of running casinos in India, and they reported on Monday. They reported a net loss of 549 million. This was in the quarter two, which is the September quarter. So they reported that bigger loss. This was against a profit last year of 590 million. So how you interpret the result is that this quarter they made a 540 million loss. The quarter last year you got a profit. So year on year, if you see the results, they are very, very bad. Also, the estimated profit was 102 million. What was the result? It was a loss. So it was much lower than the expectations. Even if you see the revenues, the total sales, the total turnover of the company, it's come up to 384 million as against last year 2.01 billion. You can see the results posted by Delta on Monday are extremely poor, that any layman can do. So if you were a person who saw this news and accordingly traded on this news, what you would have done? Logically, you as a trader would have gone short on the stock. You would have sold the company Delta Corp because things are poor. Now see what happens. If I open the chart of Delta Corp on Monday, you can see even on this TradingView website, you can see this E, which tells you that on this day the earnings came. You can see very well if you went short on this day on Delta. Delta after this 3 consecutive days from 115 has gone to 128. In spite of poor results, there has been big profit, big movements in the market. and it has given a breakout. You are up 12, 13 rupees per share in just a matter of 2 days after posting great results. So do you want to trade on news? I hope the answer is clear. You do not want to blindly trade news. Let me show some more examples so the concept is clear. This is the chart. This is the news again on Monday. We got a very big news on Monday saying that the US pharmaceutical giant Pfizer and the German company BioNTech has come out. The vaccine that they're coming out with for the coronavirus pandemic is effective 90% of the times. So that was a very big news that came into the market. So if this news was, if people wanted to buy on this news, they would have gone on Tuesday and bought the stock of Pfizer the minute it opened. So let's open the charts of Pfizer in India and let's see what happened on Tuesday. The news came out on Monday, so you can see very well. Monday, the news came out. The next day, the stock opened here. But if you bought it over here, what would have happened? The price plunged down 20% intraday. There was a movement of 20% fall in the charts of Pfizer. I'm again telling you, a very big positive news. Still, market went down 20% from the highs. If you had bought Pfizer at 1,500 rupees, you would have made a big loss, a very, very big loss, because trading on news is your worst friend. It is the way why retail traders like you and me lose money in the market. I'll show 2, 3 more examples. Now let's open another stock. This is chart PVR, another lovely example. So PVR, I've got the news articles. 1 week back, you can see the charts or the news, sorry, 1 week back posted a loss of 184 crores. Again, that's a poor news into the market. Let's open the chart of PVR. We should have gone short in the market in PVR if we just traded on news. So you can see the E icon telling you that PVR results have been out on this day. If you went short on PVR on this day, you can see what happened. You blew up your account, because from this very day itself, the PVR share from 1100 has gone all the way to 1300. 200 rupees movement in PVR in spite of poor results. So can I trade on news? You cannot. I'll show one more example. This is again news flow that we put up on our Instagram page for PVR. And around 4th of November, I think this is the news. 4th of November, we got the news that cinemas are reopening in Maharashtra. That was again a positive news. So if people traded on news, they should have gone long on PVR on 4th or 5th of November. So let's see the chart of PVR. You can exactly see on the 5th of November when the news came out, if you had went long over here, you can see the red candle showing the price of PVR plunged 50 rupees intraday. I hope things are making sense. Just because you get a news in the market does not give you the right to go long. You have to back it up by your technicals that we are going to teach you in this entire course. So your technical charts have to be the source of news for you. Personally, I do not see a lot of news. My charts tell me everything that's about to happen. Number one. So I have the least importance, I have the least concern for the news that is going around in the market. Last example I would show you before I wind up this module. This is the charts of, the news flow from Morgan Stanley, the MSCI index. So what is the MSCI index? So the Morgan Stanley Capital International Index is an emerging markets index. Just like you have Nifty. Nifty is your top 50 companies in India. Just like that, there is an index called the MSCI Emerging Markets Index, which basically encapsulates about the best companies from the emerging markets. So every semi-annually, every 6 months, they have a review in which, let's say, they will put in some companies, they will put out some companies. For example, let's say Bharti Airtel has been selected in the MSCI index. So if Bharti Airtel, if you get a news that Bharti Airtel is inducted into the MSCI index, that's a very big news. Bharti Airtel will go up. At the same time, you get the news Bharti Airtel is going out of the MSCI index, it means things are not good with Bharti. So it will lead to the fall in the price of Bharti. Just like that, we got a news today. Today, the date is 11th of November, that Yes Bank was a surprise addition to the MSCI index. So now you can see the charts of Yes Bank. Is Yes Bank price rising from today? Let's have a look at that. If we got the news today itself, today was the live coverage. So Yes Bank should have gone up today. Yes, it has gone up. But you can see Yes Bank started going up not from today, but about 3-4 days back from 7th of November. So just before even the news was out, Yes Bank had been going higher. So doesn't this mean someone already knew this news? That's exactly what I'm telling you. The big money, the smart money in the market, the big institutions, the CEOs of the companies, big investors, the proprietary traders, they already have a hang of the news. So this is what the markets follow. When you get the news, so what people do is they buy the rumor and they sell the news. This is one thing people do. They buy the rumor and then they sell the news. To put it in an easy language, what happens in the market is the language of the market is very simple. If there is a good news, this will mean bad news for the market. If there is bad news in the of a company, this will lead to good news on the market. This is exactly something that markets like to follow. So for example, if the company posts extraordinary results, let's say a company ABC posted extraordinary results for a quarter, you will see the next day company shares fall down. Why? Because that company, when the price opened higher, people sold the stocks. Very simple example is Pfizer. Just what I told you, extraordinary news from Pfizer, but still Pfizer went down. Why? If you read the news, 60% of the stock of the promoter of Pfizer, he sold 60% of the stock here on the good news. So in the market, what happens is any good news comes, it will turn out to be bad for the market. Any bad news comes, it will turn out to be good for the market. So coming back to that example I was showing you of Yes Bank. So people already knew that Yes Bank was going to be inducted in the MSCI index. So the buying started much before that you and I got the news. What happens is retailers like you and me, we will try to buy Yes Bank over here. That's the biggest mistake because the big money is trying to plan an exit there. So we need to follow the big money. Again, to recap what I've done, do not blindly follow news. Yes, it will have a weightage on how the market moves, but do not blindly follow it, because the minute that you get the news, that is exactly the minute where the big money who have entered earlier, they want to exit. So I hope these couple of points are clear. I hope the examples that I've explained you are clear. So a lot of people ask me, is there any way we can make money off news? Yes, you can. Number one, if you follow normally, depend on news less. That's number one. Number two, when is the time where you can trade on news? Let's open the charts of Nifty. You can trade on news if there is something like that we call a natural calamity, something like a tsunami, something like an earthquake, something like a pandemic that we have just got. Why am I saying this? Because these things cannot be predicted. Any tsunami, any pandemic, they can't be predicted. So if you see the charts of Nifty, when the coronavirus pandemic started, the market kept on going down. So all you had to do was keep on shorting, keep on selling every single day, and you would have made money. Because why didn't the news, the exact thing what I've told you earlier, that when the news comes, you have to, you don't enter that point. The reason that happened was because it's a pandemic. People can't expect this in the market. So anything that can be expected, the opposite will happen. Something like a pandemic, something like a tsunami, something like a depression, something like a crisis, these things will have a live impact on the market, and you can accordingly act. A very good example would be the India Pakistan, the border conflicts. These things can't be expected. Suddenly some movements happen. So if you get a news India Pakistan border conflict, you will immediately see the market is falling down, because people can't expect that. And that is exactly it. It is not factored in, it is not discounted in. Anything else in the market, to a point of time, will be factored in, to a point of time will be discounted. What I mean by that is, just to wind up, Reliance, for example, everyone knows Reliance will post fabulous results. So the let's say the quarter 3, which ends on October, November, December, the results of quarter 3 will be out on January for Reliance. Everyone knows Reliance will do good. So the buying in Reliance will not start in January when the result is out. That is actually a time only when you and me, poor retail traders, will buy the stock. People like the big brokers, they have already started buying the stock of Reliance today in November, because they know the result of Reliance in January will be good. So when you get the news, everything was already expected. The big money has bought quite a long time back. You and I are buying when the news flow comes out. That is exactly the point when the big money who has bought in November, they are exiting the stock. I hope this entire concept is clear of trading in news. I hope you find this valuable. If you have any doubts, we will discuss about this in the doubt clearing session on the weekend. Thank you so much.